Welcome to Thoughts and Teas in Focus. I'm your host, Patricia Trim, and today I have a special guest, and we are celebrating Mother's Month. May is the month of mothers, and we is Miss Sandy Harte, and Sandy is going to tell us about mothering, how to be a mother, and her days of being a mother, also her days of being a child to a mother. And she also works in the community. She's a past council member of Irvington, New Jersey, and her present occupation is educator. So she has lots of children and lots of information to give us about mothers as we celebrate May month as Mother's Month. Now we welcome Miss Sandy Harte, and she's very famous among the Guyanese community and in Irvington, New Jersey. So Miss Harte, welcome to Thoughts and Teens in Focus.
Thank you, Ms. Trim. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Miss Harte. We're going to talk lots about mother and what is motherhood, because our young people today do not know what is motherhood. But first, we'll let you talk about your experience of being a child to a mother.
Well, I'm very fortunate to have my mother alive today. Right now she's 86 years old and she's, residing back home. I just came back from my trip Easter where I went to visit her, and she's doing well. She doesn't have any of the regular problems that a lot of people younger than her and our age have. No high blood pressure, diabetes, nothing like that. So I went home, and of course, wear and tear, she's getting a little older. So I went back and I fixed up the house for her the way she likes it. So she's very happy right now.
That's a wonderful experience of enjoying your mother. But tell us something about your childhood days of being a child and having your mother to mother you, to give you that experience that today you are a mother.
Well, Miss Trim, I think my mother is the person who kind of propelled me into doing all the things that I did. I remember as a child growing up, everything I told her I wanted to do, she supported. I wanted to be a Girl Guide. It was okay. I wanted to be a Sea Ranger. It was fine. I wanted to go to lessons. It was okay. I wanted to join an organization. It was good. Anything I wanted to do, she always encouraged me. And besides, when I was growing up, my mother and my father always told me, sky's the limit. So I never felt that there was anything I couldn't do. So my mother, she played a very important role in my life. And today, I feel very blessed to have had the type of mother that I have.
Yes. Mothers are mothers wherever they may be. Mothers are mothers whatever they may do. We all have our parents. We all enjoy the quality of times with our parents that we can reflect with our children. And Sandy, we will ask you to tell us something about your experience of being a mother to your children.
Okay. Well, I was one of those mothers who was very concerned and very particular with my children. I have two boys. And, they're also parents now themselves. But back then, I did the same things that my parents did with me, with them. I taught them that the sky's the limit, and whatever they wanted to do, they could do. The only barriers is themselves. So don't put any glass ceilings up, do whatever they want to do. And I taught them as they were growing up the value of families, above anything else. And that, I always told them, if you have families and you have good friends, you don't have to worry about anything. Because, it's relationships that sustains us and that takes us through. And I had a nephew who grew up around the same age with my sons. He was younger than the oldest and older than the youngest. So the three of them were together. And, I told them that they should live well with each other, and they should look out for one another. I also taught them that they're going to meet a lot of people along this journey of life. But if they stay together as family and, have each other's backs, then, they'll know that there's someone that they could really rely on. And today, Ms. Trim, these boys are older, they're in their 30s, and they are still as close as ever. When they get together, it's like you listening to CEOs in a company sitting down discussing stuff, the way they talk, sometimes I'm stunned. I listen to their conversations and it's like, wow, I think I did a good job with them. And I tell my brother the same thing because my nephew is my brother's son. But they grew up very, very nicely. And I think that today we need a lot of family togetherness. A lot of times people feel that you get a lot more from people outside than you do inside. And I think it's because the values have not really been grounded in them from their parents. And as we all know, the first teachers for any child is the parent. And mostly the mothers are always around. But, I don't want the fathers to get upset with me now because there's some fathers who do a lot with their children. So don't get jealous. But this is all about mothers. So I'm focusing on the mothers today.
Yes, we are focusing on mothers because mothers are important in our life. Without a mother, there is no children. So we should cherish mother. Even if you don't have children, we know that you are a mother in any way. And what we will ask Sandra is about her commitment because she's an educator and she has lots of children in her school. Some may be not so good, some may be very good, some may be not so well, some may be very well. She will give us some experience about her commitment of being a mother to the students, a mother in her school, and a mother in her community.
Well, there's lots of experience as a mother with your children, and I think that I've experienced a lot of it with mine. I'm happy the way they grow up. And the nicest thing about watching your own children is the way they interact with their children. And when you hear them talking to them about the same things that you talk to them about and the things that you taught them. And, when I watch them with their children, I feel proud to know that I really, was able to do the things that I did with them. But, I don't want to take all the credit that I was so great and wonderful. If it wasn't for God, I couldn't do a lot of the things I do because, I rely on Him to really guide me and give me the wherewithal to do what I do. And now in my school, people talk about children. Oh, these children are bad, these children are good, these children are this, these children are that. My philosophy about people is there are no bad people.
That's
people
right.
do bad things.
Yeah.
So because of that, we could change them. Now, children are a unique expression of life. And everybody has something that triggers them or that motivates them. And what I look for with the children that I deal with is how can I help them be the best that they can be. Because, as an educator, I want to educate. And it's not only about academics, it's about good citizenship, how you behave, how you act. So, I just love my children. The children I'm in contact with, I love all of them. And I tell them all the time, I love you. However, I'm not your friend. My job is to help you be the best that you can be. So don't act or try to treat me like a friend, because I'm not a friend. But I love you.
Yes, moral values is most important in our community. Moral values among mothers, because if mothers do not have moral values and their self-esteem, we will not be having very good children with moral values. What would be your advice to parents, to mothers? We're talking about mothers. How, yes, moral values is most important in our community. Moral values among mothers, because if mothers do not have moral values and their self-esteem, we will not be having very good children with moral values. What would be your advice to parents, to mothers? We're talking about mothers. How about their moral values and their self-esteem to give their children the opportunity and to develop them, to lead them, to guide them, and most of all, to give them spiritual guidance that they will be able to be the mothers of tomorrow?
Well, one advice I would give to mothers is remember when you were a child. Remember how you felt if you thought that your parent didn't respond to you. And just know that your children are going through the same thing. And another thing, too, I like to tell people is children may not listen to everything their parents say, but they would never fail to imitate them. Children imitate us. Whether we like it or not, we are peer. We are their role models. And depending on what we do, the children may decide, you know what I mean? It depends on the kind of structure that we give them, that they grew up with. But children will always imitate adults. So we got to be careful. We got to be careful of the messages that we're sending to them.
That is true, because the way how a child reacts is the function that they have in the home. If the home is dysfunctional, you find children are dysfunctional. If the home is functionable, you find that the children are functionable, and we can relate to them. Being a teacher, I know that there are many times that you have dysfunctional family in the midst of your functioning families. How do you relate to that as a mother to mother with the families?
See, I believe that the school is a place of education. I tell the students all the time, when you come in this building, there's education flowing all over the place. Catch it. Hold on to it. Just, become a sponge, because we're going to teach you all that you need to know, math, science, language, all that stuff. But we're also going to teach you about responsibility and respect. You have to know how to behave. You have to know how to act. And as a result of that, I think that a lot of the children, regardless of what kind of dysfunction they may come from, I honestly think that in the school system, we need to set a tone where they feel comfortable and they're able to learn in a comfortable environment. Because what we're doing is we're giving them what they need in order for them to be able to move on to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. That's what I say. You always find a good student can say they had a good teacher. And a good teacher always look forward for the student to be perfect, to be a role model, to be someone that they can be proud of in education. Your experience with children, do you have those children that you can relate to and say, okay, they have made me feel proud? How are your views on the ones that didn't make you feel proud?
Well, it's not for want of trying. And you know what? In my capacity, because I'm a vice principal, I'm in charge of the building, but I'm a teacher at heart. So when you call me a teacher, I like that, because I tell everybody I'm a teacher at heart. I have to teach. And basically, what I do is, with all the children, I try to instill in them pride, because if you have pride, you want to excel, you want to do well. And that's my main thing with them. I tell them that they're important, that there's a role for them to fill in life, but they have to be prepared for it. And what we do is try to prepare them. And, I'm working with a good team of people. So we really try our best to give them what they want. Some kids, are slow learners. So everything that you...
Let us go back to your childhood days, that you were enjoying, being a child in those days, going to school, having respect for your neighbors. Any person could have speak to you. You did something wrong. You have so many mothers around the place. And today, we don't have that type of focus. Even the grandparents cannot even talk much to the children, or aunt or uncle cannot speak much to the children. Our children today are being governed by the police or the government, who will take them away or do what they want. There's no more that mother control in a home with their child. Can you share your views on that?
Yes. I think the reason we have so many problems with our children is because parents want to be their friends and not their parents. Grandparents want to be their friends and not their grandparents. See, to me, being a mother is a role that you are the person that's going to help teach them. You're the person that's going to help to get them to where they need to go, instill in them certain values, morals. And you basically the teacher in the house. But children have to have a certain respect. And if they don't respect authority, if they don't respect the adults, that's where you have a lot of breakdown.
You know what, Ms. Hart? I have a problem with the school system. I felt to myself, back in our days, and in our days we did maths, we did English, we did arithmetic, we did dictation, and we did spelling, which was a basic education, and which that is where our we were able to grow and learn and remember. Now today they have so much of work that they're giving the children that I know that you're an educator and administration of your school, but the homework that they give the children, it's not the children is doing it. It's the parents has to sit there to do it with them. Long ago, our parents didn't come in and help us to do anything. We had to do it ourselves. We had to know it because we know if we did bad in school, we know what we're going to have to experience. All our fun will be cut out. But now today is that the parents for the children to succeed, they are sitting there doing all the schoolwork. And after time, I think the children are getting, their brain drained because at an early age, they're so pressed with so much of schoolwork. They're so pressed with it that they just know the parents will do it for me. So
I think it may be in a controlled, in controlled places. Yes. Our parents could help their children with the homework. But when you help someone, you got to teach them. You know the old saying, if you give a man a fish, he'll come back tomorrow. You teach him to fish, he'll feed himself. So if parents take on the responsibility of doing the homework for the kids without really helping them understand what it is that they have to do, then you're always going to have that kind of a breakdown. In some districts, you have parents who work very hard, and they don't come home until late. So children have the responsibility of doing their work. One of the things that I push with our kids is if you don't understand something, ask the teacher. If you feel the teacher's not helping you, tell me, then we'll have a conversation together so that we can make sure that you're getting what you need and the teacher's really understanding what it is you need. So you have to put some of the onus on the children. You can't, especially, I'm in high school. When you have high school children, they have to understand that once you come to high school, you have a responsibility for yourself because you're only going to be there 4 years. You may be there 5 years, but after that, you have to move on. And now you're becoming a young adult. Now you're going to have to start thinking about your future because are you going to go to college, you go to trade school, or are you going into the workplace? And we're talking about if you want to be effective. You could stay home and don't do anything, so then you're not as effective as you ought to be, and you can't build your community like that. So we try to encourage our students to, do what they have to do, get the education that they need, and move forward. Plan your life. Know that you have a mission, and you're coming out of high school. I tell the students from 9th grade, you have 4 years here, maybe 5. But after that, you need to be doing something for you because we're getting older. We want to educate you because you got to take over from us. So, I try to encourage them like that.
That is to show that you're not only a teacher, educator, but there you comes with the mother role in the school, the mother role out of school, and the mother role in your home. Your advice to mothers within the community. We know we have a lot of dysfunctional mothers. We know we have a lot of mothers who have to be in prison, more children who cannot see their mother. Some of them parents die. These are children who need help. Children are getting pregnancy at an early age and at an early age in school and becoming mothers. What is the role that can be played or, to be advised those young mothers who are still children but are bringing forth children at an early age who may not have the patience, the understanding to even take care of themselves or to take care of the children or to be a mother to their children?
Well, Ms. Trim, as far as I'm concerned, all of us adults are mothers. Whether we birth the children or not, if we see that they're going in a direction they shouldn't go, I think that we ought to help them and kind of advise them. Once a young girl gets pregnant, the only thing we could do is try to give her advice on motherhood and some of the things that she needs to do as a new mother. But also understand, you're still a young person, you're still a child, you need to be educated. If you want to have a good life and be able to take care of that child, don't stop. continue with your education, get your high school diploma, go on to college, go on to trade school. You know, a lot of our young people don't know that there's programs out there that would help them go to school. And that's some of the things that we got to tell them. We as the adults, we need to understand and know what's out there so that when we see them, we could talk to them. See, my thing is not, okay, you had a child at a young age, you're not going to become somebody, because that's nonsense. You could still be somebody. Okay, mistakes don't define who you are. You're supposed to learn from them. And if you made a mistake with something, I mean, if you got pregnant at a young age, you know, the only thing I can say is, okay, it happened. How do we move forward from here? So let's put our resources together. Somebody's going to have to help. There's a lot of programs in some colleges, like the college in New Jersey, Kane College. If you go there, there's daycare center. So they have to have that over here in New York too. So whatever, you know, there's avenues that we, the adults, have to be able to point those young people into so that they don't become lost and you know, absorbed into the system.
That's what you say, motherhood never over. That's why I say every woman is a mother.
Yes.
Even if she have a child or not. It's just to give an advice to someone who is less fortunate or someone who need guidance, someone who is not prepared to be a mother at an early stage, and they don't have the patience to deal with motherhood. There is where grandparents should take the responsibility. Aunts and neighbors, families, especially female families, should take that responsibility to help that that young girl, because sometimes we turn and say, oh, you make a child, you think, but no, mistakes, as you said, mistakes are liable to be made, but we do not have to put them down. We have to try to bring them up and to think. And I know that one thing that when I went back to Guyana, and young girls was getting pregnant a lot, and they were like thrown out from their home and thrown out from schools. You know, it like was double punishment. And I said, you know, they should not be, because this is a mistake. There's a time that child, because it's pregnant, they need to have that motherly love. They need to have that home. They need to have that care. They need not to be all, you know, thrown on the street or out of school. I even suggested that do not, when they're pregnant, do not throw them out of the school. Still allow them to go to school. They should have an institution where pregnant young girls could go to school, keep on going to school, and continue the education. But back home, our home, it don't work like that. I only hope that, you know, something like that come up and help them out into this situation. And as you, as a political lady, and being involved in the politics, being a member of the Guyanese organizations, and being a member of the New Jersey's organization, how would you encourage our people or anybody to be more involved in helping young women who are giving birth at an early age?
Well, Ms. Trim, the first thing I say is don't put them down. Don't put them down. We have to teach them. And we have to let them understand that, you know, stuff happens. Is it a mistake? I don't know. Because the God that I serve, I honestly believe that He knows exactly what He's doing. And that sometimes we don't know why some things happen, but there's a bigger picture to it. You understand? And you know, when I
president,
yeah, and then when I look at, you know, like when I look at some people and some things that happen in life, it depends on how we react to it. You know, like they say, a character is not what happens to you, it's how you react to it. So, you know, if you know, my thing is, if it, and I don't for one second promote young people having children at an early age, because I believe as a young person you should enjoy your life, and enjoying your life, you go to school, you try to get an education, you make sure that you graduate from high school, you have some plans, start having plans at a young age. One of the things that parents could do for their children, and a lot of times they don't do it, is to start having them thinking about what they want to be when they grow up. I remember as a child, when I was maybe 6, 7, 8, my father used to ask us when we sit around the table having dinner, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you tell him what you want to be, and he'd always say, okay, then if that's what you want to be, you be the best at it. I remember growing up, I wanted to be this, I wanted to be that. I changed what I want to be because as a child, I'm growing. I'm getting different experiences that's coming my way, and I decide that one time I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an educator, so it's like we go through a cycle. And then as we get older, we decide exactly what it is, but we're thinking at a young age about our careers and what we want to do. And that's what I'd like to encourage parents to do. Mothers, fathers, everybody, encourage the children to think about what they want to do. I know when I was a teacher, and the first day of school, the kids come in, and it was introduction time. And I would always ask them, okay, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And more than half the class would tell me, I don't know. And I'll tell them, okay, think about it, because I'm going to come back with it halfway through the marking period. And I did, I went back at it, and then some of them would tell you, this is what I want to be, but a few of them would say, well, I'm not sure yet. I said, okay, I'm coming back again. And before the year ends, I asked them several times, what do you want to be? You got to think about it, because it is so true. People without a vision perish. And we don't want these young people to perish. The reason we don't want them to perish is because we are getting older. They have to take over from us. And my fear is that if we don't prepare them properly, they're not going to be able to step into our shoes and do a decent job like we're doing. And children are supposed to excel more than their parents.
Yeah.
So we want them to be better than we are.
Thank you, Sandy. That was so nice talking with you, giving your views as motherhood. And I want to acknowledge you as Tots and Teens Mother of the month of May. And I know you'll be receiving your award from us, because we'll be giving out awards for Mothers of the Month. And we want to celebrate this month, May month, as Mothers of the Month. And thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your views, your ideas, and your inspiration. And before you leave us, what would you like to tell our viewers?
Well, I'd like to say it was great being here talking to you about motherhood and young people and stuff like that. And for you viewers, I'd like to encourage you to take care of the children, look after the children. The Bible did tell us that we ought to take care of our children. And in case you don't believe it, these young people are going to become our leaders tomorrow. If you don't treat them well, when you become old and you can't take care of yourself, guess who has to take care of you? So let's band together and make sure that we give them what they need so that they will become the best young, older generation that will look after us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, for that wonderful talk. And just remember, our viewers, we wish you a happy Mother's Day, a happy Mother's Month. And please note that Mother's Day is not only one day. And Mother's Day is not getting lunch or getting anything special, but Mother's Day should be a loving time, a love that can last a lifetime. And parents, you mothers also have to show that type of love to your children so that they can have, because if they don't have it, they cannot give it. You give it to them and it will return to you. So to all you mothers, thank you for watching us. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Sandy, for being on our show and representing our Mothers of the Year. You are now Tots and Teens Mother of the Year. So thank you to our viewers. We say goodbye from Tots and Teens and see you on happy Mother's Month.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.
Let me see if I can get a two picture. Oh, we had it.